So it looks like a few things got spicy at the Muslim Fest in Toronto yesterday. And CBC couldn't help themselves but come out with an article about racism, because everything is racism in the world of leftism. So we'll cover this article, but if Canada is supposed to be a multicultural society, why is there such a thing called Muslim Fest where it's only Muslims, right? And you're going to say, no, not only Muslims are invited. Well, then why are you specifically segregating the fact that it is for Muslims, by Muslims, in a festival, if this is supposed to be a multicultural, a multicultural place? I understand under Islam there is the view that Muslims are on one side, and then the rest of people who are non-Muslims on the other. So it's really just that way of viewing the world. It's the Muslim world and there's the non-Muslim world. So now Muslim Fest is a clear indication this is the Muslim world over here. The others is not Muslim. All these other festivals that don't have Muslim in it, not Muslim. So anyways, that was my little intro. If I move on to actually the CBC article. So I find it really funny because you cannot talk about Islam under any circumstance. This is the whole idea behind the Islamophobia bills that they're trying to pass in Canada. So after a terror attack, Muslims are too victimized by the terror attack against non-Muslims by one of their own, that they're too victimized to talk about Islam. So we can't talk about it then. Now, we can't talk about it at a Muslim fest because, they're too victimized at a Muslim fest to talk about it. We can't talk about it when things are going right and we just have questions about Islam. And So we can't talk about Islam when it's going well. We can't talk about Islam when it's not going well. We can't talk about Islam online because that's also racism. So really, can't talk about Islam. That's pretty much the message we're getting no matter where you are. Now, the whole racism thing is a joke. So basically, in order for anybody to not ever have to discuss Islam, to not have to justify Islam, to not have to go into what Islam actually is, the main weapon is racism. Even if it makes no sense, it's completely ridiculous to use a racism accusation against somebody who questions Sharia or who questions Islam. To use just, it's the most ridiculous thing because it has nothing to do with race. So if you look at racism, there's like Black Muslims and there's white Muslims. And if somebody went after and said Black Muslims should not get jobs because they're Black, well, that's racism. But if you just say, what is Sharia? Should Sharia be allowed in Canada? Should Islam be afforded its own segregated communities? If you ask questions like that, they will say you're a racist, but it doesn't make sense. It's not a race. It's an ideology. So this is where I just find it hilarious. So what happened at Muslim Fest is there was Jagmeet Singh's brother. He's some kind of a political figure in Toronto. I don't even care anymore what those people do. NDP and the brother of NDP, I don't care. But Guratan Singh is his name. And he was actually there at the event giving a speech. So why a politician is at Muslim Fest giving some kind of a political speech when you're not part of the main parties in Canada, like you're not a Liberal, like you're not the Prime Minister. And thank God, by the way, the Prime Minister did not give a speech this year wishing them a happy Muslim Fest. Last year, he did it.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone, bonjour à tous. Welcome to Muslim Fest 2018.
This year, radio silence. I haven't found it anyways. Maybe he did and I'm wrong on that, but let me know. So he was at this event delivering this big speech, and it was a speech about how Islam is peaceful and blah, blah, blah. And why are you there saying that? And why is a Sikh guy up there on stage talking to Muslims, telling them Islam is peace? I don't understand what the whole point of that was. maybe there's another agenda that I'm missing. I don't know. I don't know why he was there. And he's Sikh. So Sikh is a completely different religion than Muslims, just so you know. I think most of you guys would know this, but in case somebody didn't know, it's a completely different religion. And in fact, the Muslims are known to slaughter the Sikhs en masse. So the Sikhs have a very long history of fighting off Islam and Muslims. And because in Canada we're not aware of this, we don't question it. We're so used to everybody put all the cultures together and just hope nobody explodes and just hope nothing goes wrong and just hope that everything will be peaceful. But it's starting to crack. It's this whole multicultural idea is cracking. It's starting to, yeah, we're gonna see problems. We already see problems, but they're just gonna be a lot worse in a few years. Give it some time, you'll see how bad Canada is going to get you guys. So what's interesting about this story is, first of all, Jagmeet Singh's brother, Guratan Singh, actually hurled out the racism accusation, despite the fact that the guy didn't say one racist thing. He questioned about Sharia and Islam.
Did you know Islamophobia was created by the Muslim Brotherhood in 1990? The silence criticism of Islam? It's true. It's not hate, it's the truth, buddy.
We don't need that kind of racism.
I'm not racist. Come on. I'm not racist. But be true about it.
I will be true.
What about Sharia?
I will speak true.
Do you support Sharia?
I will speak true to racism.
Come on, speak the truth. Why are you hiding, buddy?
I'm not hiding.
You're politically correct, man. What about Sharia, political Islam? You're hiding, buddy. We'll debate you anytime. You want to debate, man? You're full of political correctness. I despise people like you. You're full of crap, buddy. You're a liar and a cheat.
The second thing that's really interesting, well, of course the CBC picked this up. How did they know? How does the CBC always get onto these stories, right? And why is this making the news? In the video, and I'm gonna link it, you guys can watch, but the guy, the Jagmeet Singh brother, he's surrounded by like 10 people that are all on his side protecting him, and the other guy is on his own. So even though he's asking him questions, he didn't do anything violent. And in fact, at one point in the video, you see somebody else put his hands on this other guy, this Stephen guy. Stephen is I looked this up, he's the leader of the National Citizens Alliance, I guess, and I didn't even know it was a political party in Canada, but apparently it is, and they're trying to put Canada first. Now, what I don't like about, because I'm going to be fair here and look at all sides of this story, I don't like the way this Stephen guy, who's the leader of the National Citizens Alliance, gets up in the face of people. I think that, first of all, this gives the other side the opportunity to put out videos like this saying that Stephen is racist. And of course, everybody who's looking at the video thinks he's racist. Nobody knows a bit of the background story, and nobody understands that he didn't actually say anything racist, because they're just like, it's a Twitter storm, right? It just goes over Twitter and then blah, 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 everybody's like, oh, racist, right? Like without even thinking. It's like sheep. It's like all this, the way I look at Twitter is like, all these brainwashed people out there, and then some mastermind is going to put some tweet out there designed to invoke like all these like reactions from the brainwashed people, and then everybody's like, oh my god, racist. So like in this case, let me tell you who the orchestrator of that tweet was. His name is Mohammed Hashim. You will remember him from such productions as They Cut Off My Hijab, big press conference, everything, statements, blah, blah, blah. That was Mohammed Hashim. And what was the other incident? It was was it the van? Was it the van guy or was it the shooter guy? There's another one. Somebody is gonna put that in the comment section. Put it in the comment section. I will pin it so that it shows up first in the comment section because I can't remember now. But this Mohammed Hashim guy did the same thing, and I think it was for the van killer. So the guy who drove his van in downtown Toronto, and they spun the whole story about how he was a nice guy. Oh, maybe it's the shooter. Oh my God, I can't remember. Oh, there's so many of these. I'm honestly, I'm losing track. I'm actually losing track of this. So, and I just said, oh my God. So please, you people out there, the religious ones, I'm one of you. Can you please not attack me on that whole thing? God's name in vain? Can we stop with that? Like, I'm putting out a message here. I'm actually getting life threats to me for putting out these messages. So like, the least of our problems here should be that I invoke the name of God and like, please, like, can we just, okay. I digress a lot today, but Mohammed Hashim, he is the one. How did he get this video? This is what I always wonder. I'm sitting there going, I see altercations all the time everywhere, and none of them make the news, right? So where is this pipeline from these events all the way up to CBC and to Mohammed Hashim? Like, what? There really is bigger forces behind this. These people are all connected, and they look for this. This is why my recommendation to this Stephen, who I think his heart and his mind is in the right place, but his behavior might need a fine tuning a little bit. I think if we go out with a camera in people's face and we try to do things like that, and then you kind of ask people about Islam at a Muslim fest, it does antagonize them, and then it gives them the weapons to show you as being a racist, Islamophobe bigot, that white supremacist that needs to be kicked out of Canada, right? We don't want to provide them more ammunition. They already have the entire left, they have academia, they have the media on their side. It's important that we don't go in there and give them more that they can work with. In this case, it would have been probably smarter for the national, what are they called? The National Citizens Alliance, to just go in and undercover film this stuff. Just don't bring attention to yourself, just undercover film this. And then go back home and provide a video saying, look, why was there a speech by Jagmeet Singh's brother about Islam and how peaceful it is? Why was that necessary? What are the forces behind this? Why is there a Muslim fest there? What are the reasons behind all of this, right? This is where, like, I thought we were all supposed to be Canadians. So yeah, when I do see something like Muslim Fest, and this is not just for Muslims, it's for all these other cultures. If they have their own little thing, and it does feel a little bit, you know, like it's just for them. It does feel like that. So it's not very conducive to having a harmonized society of multiple races and culture living within it in harmony, right? Like, it doesn't seem to me like this is going to be the harmonization that we're going to need. And I get it. You want to keep your culture, you want to keep your traditions, no problem. But as long as it's not like a segregation type event, this is kind of what's pissing off some of the Canadians that are here. So anyways, these are all things to think about. I don't know what the proper solution to that would be. But anyways, until we fix that, I don't know why we're bringing more people in. This is a mess, right? Like, you have Muslim Fest and you have racist incidents there. You can't have a goddamn Muslim Fest anymore, you know? So I find it funny. But anyways, so let me get back to my pipeline to Mohammed Hashim. How the hell was he involved? How did he get that video and manage to retweet it so quickly? This guy is involved. He's with the CBC. They're all calling each other like, yo, dude, I got the perfect recent video, blah, blah, blah. Look, it's involving Jagmeet Singh's brother. Let's go run with this. Let's get the sheep, you know, the population all like freaked out and hyped up on racism accusation. And then we're going to portray this guy as a white supremacist nationalist. Let's watch these people eat him alive on Twitter. And this is what happens. This is what happens. And this is why I think there should be some form of methodology used to approach this. I'm very, very much a defender of Canada, and I want Canada to go back to the way that I grew up in, the free Canada of the 90s. Even then, it could have been improved a little bit, you know, but whatever. It was great. It was great growing up in the 90s. And now to this, where we can't even talk about Islam. You can't go to a Muslim fest and actually ask them about Islam without offending somebody. It's so absolutely crazy. And when you actually do talk about it, no matter where you talk about Islam, you get called a racist. Despite the fact that it's a religion, it's an ideology. It's actually an ideology with a component that's religious. Oh, anyways, how is this? Anyways. Okay, that's it for me. I'm tuning out. This is the second video I've recorded today, and the ending is just as terrible as the first one. So hopefully you forgive me for that. I will try to do better, and I will see everybody in the next one. Let me know what you think, guys.